Chrono Odyssey took the MMO world by surprise recently, but with the closed beta test finished, kinda feels like we got baited.
I just want to let you guys know that I stream every day at twitch.tv/Exiverse. Check it out. Peace.
Welcome back yet to another video. I played Chrono Odyssey for the past 72 hours and I'd like to share my experience through all of it. I did a video like this recently with Black Desert Online, so if you like this kind of video, please go check it out. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. It would mean the world if you do this, guys. I really appreciate it. And don't forget to come check out my Twitch. I promise I'll make you laugh at least once. And if not, well, you can report me for wasting your time. You can unfollow me. You can unsub. Please don't do that. All right, I know. There's a lot of drama. There's a lot of disappointment with this game.
This game looks like the world.
It was expected. I will try my best to give you an unbiased and honest opinion that will show pretty much both sides of the coin. The first thing I want to talk about is the closed beta testing key distribution. I say keys in quotation because they're not really giving us keys, rather access to their game directly through Steam. So you would sign up to the beta, wait until they grant you access, and then you could download the game when they open up the servers. Whoever gets access to the download is completely randomized. So even if you were one of the first people to actually click on requests, doesn't really mean or doesn't really guarantee you from being accepted in the first wave. Now, this created an obvious problem.
Bots.
Some people got their hands on hundreds, if not thousands of accounts that were eligible to play the game. Then the same people would just take these accounts, put them up on a RMT website, and yeah, you get the idea. Right from the get-go, that caused so much drama, so much heat, with people just bombarding the community managers in Discord, and yeah, it was pretty awful. I'm not an expert in the whole Steam distribution of requests and all these things, but one piece of advice moving forward, because they did confirm a second beta, would probably be something like impose filters on the accounts that are requesting. For example, maybe like a 1 week old account could be eligible, 1 month old account, maybe previously owned games, played for, I don't know, 10, 15 hours. I'm not sure, maybe something to legitimize the players that are actually requesting it so we can have actual players hoarding all the keys and not bots, for example, you know? Alright, before getting into
To the meat.
of this video, I wanted to address something. I've seen so many people calling out content creators for being shills, for lying, for misleading us with an unpolished and clunky game. And you know what? I can pretty much understand where they're coming from. Let me explain. Chrono Odyssey released a 17-minute long gameplay footage, and I will refer this a lot of times in this video. Let's just call it the trailer, the 17-minute long trailer. So Chrono released a 17-minute long trailer a week before the closed beta, and it looked amazing, it looked hype, it looked promising. You had big content creators like Asmongold Jr., Tectone. We got Maximilian, we had Hexy, you know what I'm saying? We had the big dogs of YouTube reacting to it. And let's keep it real, this is the version we were pretty much awaiting for. This is what we were expecting from the beta. And I know the CEO tweeted that this is an old version that we're gonna have for the beta. It's a 6 to 8 month old version, part of the FGT, some sort of like focus group test or first group test. I'm not sure what it means. But come on, not everyone follows that guy, not everyone follows him. The regular Andes don't even know about that. And then you have content creators like Canon that literally said in his own videos that the gameplay footage from the 70-minute long video is not reflective on the beta that we're gonna be having this weekend.
Currently lacks the polish of being one. If this was an alpha or early beta, I'd say it's looking pretty good. If this is what we're going into launch with, then honestly, we're in some serious trouble.
But again, the average person probably did not see his video. So now picture this. You have a 17-minute long video that shows very, very nice gameplay. 10 days or so before the closed beta tests, hyping up pretty much everyone that watches it. And then 10 days later, the beta happens and we get a unpolished and clunky version that looks nowhere near that trailer. So I can completely understand why people are disappointed and sad about the whole thing. But blaming it on content creators and calling them names, shills, liars, when they literally told us that the closed beta test tests will be lacking polish, will have a lot of bugs, a lot of issues. I just think it's cringe, man. Like not even because I'm a content creator as well, but I just in general it's just cringe. Like they are not to blame. You know what I'm saying? Like it just feels unnecessary. You know what I'm saying? Now my advice moving forward is probably something like lower the expectation, lower the hype, let it build itself up, and then carry the momentum. For example, that 70-minute long trailer could have been posted after the closed beta test ended. That would have probably helped build up even more hype and expectations for the next upcoming beta. I kind of feel it did the opposite now. It just caused so much disappointment. So many videos out there calling the game trash. People are losing interest. I just feel like because of that bad timing, it caused even more harm than good. So now we do know it's confirmed that there's going to be a second beta test. So hopefully with all of this that's just happened, they can take it, they can learn from it and move forward accordingly. Alright, the moment you've all been waiting for, the gameplay and content review. Chrono Odyssey is a sandbox MMO heavily inspired by Chrono Trigger for the time traveling aspect, Elden Ring for the open world elements, and New World for everything else. I'm not kidding. You can choose between 3 classes: the Swordsman, the Berserker, and the Ranger. The other 3, Paladin, Sorceress, and Assassin, were locked for this beta. Each class comes with a selection of 3 weapons, but you can only wear 2 at a time. The gear progression is a horizontal one, meaning everyone will reach a somewhat very similar gear score with minimal differences. In over 95% of cases, crafting your own gear will be the better option, since the ones found in dungeons aren't even as good. In terms of content, the beta had your typical field bosses, world bosses, dynamic events, bounties, chrono gates, labyrinths, expeditions, and trials. I will try my best to explain everything in a short and sweet manner. Bounties are self-explanatory. You go up to a board, choose a target, and go take them out for some rewards. These rewards would include perma-increased stats, so it's very encouraged to pursue. Same for dynamic events, it's pretty self-explanatory. Random little events might happen as you're exploring, and completing them will give you rewards. Chrono gates are essentially solo dungeons where you will fight off a boss at the end in order to progress your story. I personally found those extremely fun, especially the first one. Maybe because I was undergeared, so it made the fight extremely more challenging. But if you played any Souls-like game where the first boss is usually a reality check that is not going to be an easy journey, well, you can expect the same here. Obviously, you can always leave and go get better gear and come back once you get stronger. Labyrinths are essentially solo dungeons that rely on some sort of puzzle to complete them. Expeditions are essentially your 1 to 3 man dungeons with the boss at the end. Trials are solo dungeons with a little twist. You need a key to enter those, and I believe you can only acquire 5 a week from an NPC next to it. You're presented with 4 doors upon entry, where you have to choose one and complete it. After that, you'll be presented with 3 doors, then 2 doors, and then the final door will have a boss at the end. There are also gates to the past that are like dungeons, I guess. It's a 1 to 3 man instance where you will need a specific key to get into. Those keys are acquired from killing field bosses, and those gates to the past give you a lot of gold and experience, and personally, I like that you can enter as many times as you want as long as you have a key in your inventory, making it spammable. And lastly, exploration. In my honest opinion, exploration is probably the main content that this game has to offer. A lot of quests, side quests, dungeons, and trials are often hidden, so exploration enables a lot of discovery of content. On top of that, endgame gear requires high-tier materials, and sometimes those are really hard to find because they're in little sneaky spots. So in terms of content, I think the game has a lot to offer, and that's genuinely a good thing moving forward. I personally had a blast playing this game, especially with my friends, because of the exploration. Finding secret areas, secret quests, secret zones, secret dungeons that we wouldn't have found if we didn't explore is something really rewarding. Also, when my friends would go offline, I would still be able to progress my account, my progression, my gear, just by simply exploring, finding high-tier items, and gathering them to prepare for my next set of gear. Now, was the content extremely challenging and required multiple tries? Probably not. Except that first Chaos Gate, like I mentioned earlier, because I was super undergeared. Other than that, the content, or most of the content, was fairly easy with good gear. I mean, up-to-date gear, obviously. But I'm sure this will change in the future with raids being introduced and higher tier dungeons. I'm sure there's going to be more challenging content. When it comes to the gameplay, this is where everyone has a problem. Let's keep in mind that bugs and issues are expected to happen because this is a beta. These things are supposed to happen so that when the game launches, we're gonna have way less of them. With that being said, it is still quite shocking how many bugs have been found and discovered, and you know what? All we can do is report them and hope they get fixed later on. Which brings me to my other point where I'm still confused why they gave us an old build to test when they have a fully fleshed out version of it. The most logical explanation out there perhaps could be that the version they gave us is the most stable out there, which I understand, but it still feels pointless because of all the things that we're discovering could already have been addressed in the later fix. A simple example of this is if you take the 70-minute trailer and you compare it side by side with some gameplay, you can definitely see some polishing already happening. So it's like, I'm still a little confused. What are we doing here? Now, I don't think this was done in a malicious way as an excuse in case their beta performed weakly, like this game is clunky, it's janky. It's because it's an old beta test, guys. Don't worry about it. Hey, what we got for you guys coming up next will amaze you. It's crazy. I don't think they did it like that. So let's not doom yet, and also let's not breed that hope, you know what I'm saying? Like, just chill. All right, starting off, let's talk about the character creation. There is really nothing to be said here other than the fact that this is what you would expect from an Unreal Engine 5 Korean MMORPG. Super customizable, models look good with amazing assets, and yeah, I liked it. There are some sliders that wouldn't work, but that doesn't really bother me. It's surely going to be fixed on launch. Next, when it comes to the UI in-game, I think it's a very controversial decision to have a compass instead of a minimap, especially in an MMO, but I ain't mad at it. Yes, I know they want us to feel and stay immersed. However, I think it did quite the opposite for me and a lot of other people, honestly. Oftentimes, I would find myself lost going somewhere and I would have to open my map every now and then, and yeah, believe it or not, it would remove me from my immersion from time to time. Now, I'm not saying that no minimap is a deal breaker, but the map UI could probably use some fine-tuning to make it easier to look at. When it comes to the compass, for example, party members and quest indicators wouldn't show properly on it, which also made it hard to track objectives. Maybe these things have already been addressed in their latest build, or even perhaps I'm just way too used to relying on minimaps for constant guidance. Another one for me personally is that every single menu that I open tends to fill my entire screen, which we can definitely work on having smaller versions of, perhaps even adding some transparency settings to them. Another thing that I really don't enjoy is when you are out of combat, you still use stamina when you're running. It is such an annoyance that I thought that games would learn from Elden Ring and remove it as they did. Regardless, in terms of world building and environment, I think they nailed it. Going for a dark, sinister vibe, just like Elden Ring, I think they did an amazing job. Now, I'm not a big fan of lighting braziers manually for visibility, but that's just me, I guess. When it comes to combat, I played Ranger and chose the Rapier and crossbows. I personally felt some clunkiness when it came to some directional skills or even the crossbow dash, but it wasn't to a point where it became unplayable. It's just so hard to give criticism when there's an updated version of the game out there on YouTube in a 17-minute long trailer that addresses pretty much everything that I had to say. Again, like most people said, this game has a strong foundation. Now it's just time to build up from this foundation and polish it and deliver us something of good quality. A very unique mechanic to this game called the Chrono Detector is a tool that you can use where you have 5 different ways of bending the time to your will, and I'm not gonna lie, some of these abilities felt good to use. With temporal isolation, you basically take every single mob around you, boss excluded, to another dimension if you will, where time is halted for a short amount of time, and every ally in your vicinity also enters this new dimension and can also hit the mobs that are halted. With time reversal, you can cast it once and it'll act as a save slate for your character. After 10 seconds, you'll return back to your original location with your original HP, etc. With temporal resistance, you basically have a slow fall and some aerial gliding, also no fall damage during that phase. Summon is self-explanatory. You just summon a creature that you pretty much got from killing one of the bosses in the Chrono Gate. And lastly, temporal tuning, which is basically your eagle sense from Assassin's Creed. In Chrono Odyssey, you release a shockwave that reveals like traces of past, specific objects, and even footprints. This one is usually used for quests and or bounties. Regardless, the movement is extremely bad in most cases. The double jump has no animation. The inertia sometimes feels very weird, and so does the camera movement. Another small thing that I've noticed is that there seems to not be any stagger inflicted to mobs when you hit them, outside of headshots, which kind of feels weird. Overall, the gameplay did not feel great. It needs a lot of love to bring it up to a point where it'll be actually playable. If you know me in real life, I'm someone extremely optimistic, but considering the fact that they're aiming for a complete release in Q4 of 2025, kinda makes me somewhat skeptical. It's not that I have no faith in the project, au contraire. I have a lot of faith in the project. It's just that I feel like there's just way too much to work on. We all know MMOs tend to be expensive to make and even more to maintain and keep developing on. I sincerely feel like we all got baited considering how the 70-minute long video of the trailer looked like versus what we actually ended up receiving, which brings me back to the beginning of the video. I know the CEO said that we're not going to receive that. I know that the content creators said the same thing, but it's just like not everyone is up to date with this sphere, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's really hard to not have any crazy expectations when you put out a crazy trailer like this and then ended up having some sort of a clunky, janky flop. On top of all of that, a lot of systems, assets, UI, and mechanics really look like New World. Like, I was just comparing because I bought New World a couple of months ago just to try it for fun. There's a lot of things that looked similar. I keep hearing people call Chrono Odyssey a Team New World, and I really cannot unsee it. Like, it's so true.
What is
That's
happening
the literal
here?
siege camp from New World.
Is it really?
Before you attack, yeah.
Oh, are you telling me the
Copy-
yeah? Someone invite me to party again, but like, yeah, if the castle's here, that means the siege camp should be across, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It fucking is, bro. Oh my god.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Oh my
Know
god.
what it looks like. Is this exactly copy paste?
Yeah, it's
Pretty
basically
much, yeah.
copy- yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, even the
No, no,
shops
I
on the
like-
side by the door.
Yeah, you have
it's
3 doors out, and this is where you stage your like attack, and then like you go fight the other 50 people on the
Like,
other
even
side.
it's this little.
It's
hold on,
literally this, yeah.
You even have this platform in this table right here.
Yep.
Really?
Oh my god.
It's 1-to-1,
Holy
bro.
shit.
Like even to when you go outside
Why
to
would
the
it like?
front.
Dude, hold on, bro. When I asked him. When I asked him what games did you take inspiration from, why did he not say New World? Why did he not say New World?
Personally, if it weren't for me streaming this game and playing it with my friends and chat, I don't think I would have enjoyed it as much. Honestly, I just really want to see this game flourish because it has the potential to be pretty huge. Anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And come on over to the Twitch. I stream almost every single day. Thank you for watching and have a great week. Oh, one last thing.
How many people are you expecting to have in the closed beta test?
이번 클로즈 베타 참여자는 한 100만 정도로 생각하고 있습니다.